What if everything we thought we knew about ancient civilizations was only half the story? Picture this standing in the shadow of a massive stone structure, its edges cutting a perfect line against the night sky, matching the position of stars that haven't shone this way for thousands of years. These aren't random accidents, they're deliberate, awe-inspiring feats of engineering crafted by people who understood the cosmos in ways we're still struggling to decode. Today, we're diving into 29 ancient structures scattered across the globe, each one aligned with celestial precision that defies modern logic. These aren't just ruins, they're time capsules, whispering secrets of a forgotten wisdom that connected earth and sky in ways we can barely imagine. Think about the pyramids of Egypt, monuments so perfectly oriented to true north that even today's architects debate how it was possible without advanced tools. Or the sprawling temples of Angkor Wat, mirroring the constellations of the dragon and the serpent in their layout. These aren't coincidences, they're proof of something extraordinary, a shared, almost obsessive fascination with the stars that spanned continents and cultures separated by oceans and centuries. How did societies with no contact with one another arrive at the same celestial conclusions? What drove them to invest lifetimes, sometimes entire generations, into building structures that spoke the language of the heavens? This journey isn't just about stones and stars. It's about rediscovering the brilliance of those who came before us, people who mapped the sky with nothing but their eyes and their intuition. As we explore these 29 marvels, you'll start to see patterns, threads of knowledge that weave through history, connecting the pyramids of Giza to the mysterious stone circles of Britain, the sun temples of Peru to the forgotten observatories of Mesopotamia. The deeper we go, the clearer it becomes. Our ancestors weren't just building for the present, they were leaving messages coded in alignment, waiting for us to look up and wonder. So let's unravel these puzzles together, one celestial clue at a time, and uncover the astonishing truth hidden in plain sight. The Great Pyramid of Giza stands as a silent testament to a civilization that saw the stars not as distant lights, but as guides, markers, perhaps even companions. Its precision isn't just impressive, it's unnerving. The pyramid's four base edges align with true north, south, east, and west with a margin of error so slight, it rivals modern surveying techniques. But here's what's truly mind-bending. The two narrow shafts inside the pyramid, one pointing directly to Orion's belt and the other to Sirius, the brightest star in our night sky. These alignments weren't random. Orion was linked to Osiris, the god of rebirth, while Sirius symbolized Isis, the mother goddess. The pyramid's layout wasn't just architecture. It was a mirror of the heavens, a reflection of beliefs woven into stone. How did they do it? Without compasses, without satellites, without the tools we take for granted today. The ancient Egyptians mapped the sky with jaw-dropping accuracy. Some researchers suggest they used the pole star or tracked the sun's shadow with obelisks. Others believe they had access to a now-lost science, a way of reading the cosmos that we've yet to rediscover. And then there's the mystery of the pyramid's placement. Why here? The Giza Plateau isn't just a random patch of desert. It sits at the exact center of Earth's landmass, a fact that raises even more questions about the depth of their knowledge. Were they aware of the planet's geography on a scale we wouldn't achieve for millennia? Theories about the pyramid's purpose spiral as wildly as the stars it aligns with. Some argue it was a tomb, though no pharaoh's remains have ever been found inside. Others propose it was an energy generator, pointing to the unusual electromagnetic properties detected in its chambers. Then there's the celestial gateway theory that the pyramid was a bridge between Earth and the afterlife. its shafts acting as pathways for the pharaoh's soul to ascend to the stars. Whatever the truth, one thing is undeniable. The builders didn't just stack stones, they encoded the sky into their work, leaving behind a puzzle that still captivates astronomers, historians, and dreamers alike. The Great Pyramid doesn't just defy logic, it challenges us to rethink what ancient civilizations were truly capable of. Crossing the English Channel from Egypt's pyramids, we find another marvel whispering celestial secrets: Stonehenge. This ring of towering stones isn't just a relic of Neolithic Britain, it's a masterpiece of astronomical engineering. Picture the summer solstice sunrise, its first golden rays sliding perfectly between the uprights of the heel stone, flooding the center of the circle with light. But that's just the beginning. The arrangement of these blue stones and sarcens, some weighing over 25 tons, pinpoints lunar standstills, solar equinoxes, and even eclipse cycles with startling precision. How did a society without written language or metal tools design what amounts to a stone-built supercomputer tracking the heavens? The scale of the undertaking alone boggles the mind. These stones weren't local. They were hauled over land and water from quarries nearly 150 miles away, an effort that would have required generations of coordinated labor. Why go to such lengths? One compelling theory suggests Stonehenge was more than a calendar. It was a sacred interface between earth and sky. The Aubrey holes, circular pits surrounding the site, may have held wooden posts marking lunar phases, turning the entire landscape into a dynamic celestial model. Even more intriguing are the recently discovered alignments linking certain stones to planetary movements, particularly Venus and Mars, suggesting Neolithic sky watchers tracked more than just the sun and moon. But here's where the mystery thickens. Stonehenge wasn't built in isolation. It's part of a vast ritual landscape including Durrington Walls, where animal bones show feasting peaked at midwinter, and the Cursus, a 2-mile-long earthwork aligned with solar events. Together, they form a cosmological blueprint, a place where the rhythms of the sky dictated ceremonies, harvests, and perhaps even political power. Some researchers argue the monument's acoustic properties, its stones producing eerie echoes during solstice alignments, hint at sound-based rituals harmonizing with celestial cycles. Others point to cremated human remains found on-site, suggesting Stonehenge doubled as a gateway between worlds, where the dead were returned to the cosmos that guided their lives. What emerges isn't just a collection of rocks, but a testament to humanity's timeless urge to commune with the stars. Unlike Egypt's pyramids, where alignment served pharaohs and gods, Stonehenge feels communal, a shared project binding an entire culture to the sky's rhythms. Its builders may have left no written records, but their stones speak volumes, in the way moonlight glints off the altar stone during a major standstill, or how winter solstice shadows trace spirals on the ground like celestial fingerprints. Every chisel mark, every precisely angled lintel whispers that for Neolithic Britain, the heavens weren't just observed, they were lived. And in that living, they built a legacy that still draws thousands to stand in its shadow, gazing upward as the stars wheel overhead, just as they did 4,000 years ago. Now, let's journey from the misty plains of Stonehenge to the sun-baked jungles of the Yucatan Peninsula, where the Maya built a city that turned stone into celestial poetry. Chichen Itza isn't just another pyramid. It's a living clock, a calendar, and a cosmic stage. At its heart stands El Castillo, a structure so precisely engineered that during the spring and autumn equinoxes, the setting sun casts a shadow that slithers like a serpent down its northern staircase. This isn't just a trick of light, it's a meticulously calculated display honoring Kukulkan, the feathered serpent god who bridged earth and sky. But the real marvel. The pyramid's 4 staircases each have 91 steps, totaling 364. When you add the platform at the top, you get 365, mirroring the solar year. Every detail was a deliberate nod to the cosmos. Then there's El Caracol, the observatory. Its name means the snail, a nod to the spiral staircase inside, but its purpose was anything but slow-moving. The narrow windows of this tower align with Venus's most extreme rising and setting points, tracking the planet's 8-year cycle with eerie precision. Why Venus to the Maya? It wasn't just a bright dot in the sky, it was the god Kukulkan's twin, a harbinger of war and fertility. They timed battles, coronations, and harvests to its movements, proving their sky wasn't just observed, it was woven into the fabric of daily life. Their Venus tables, carved into the Dresden Codex, predict the planet's position centuries into the future with accuracy that rivals modern astronomy. How did they achieve this without telescopes or written records of mathematical formulas? The answer lies in patient generations of sky watchers tracking patterns, passing knowledge orally, and refining their models over centuries. The Maya didn't just see the stars, they conversed with them. Their long count calendar, which famously sparked doomsday fears in 2012, wasn't about endings. It was about cycles, a reminder that time was as infinite as the heavens they studied. Chichen Itza's alignments go beyond spectacle. The ball court's hoops align with the solstice sun, and even the acoustics of a clap echo like the Quetzal bird's cry, a sound symbolizing the divine. Every stone whispers the same truth. The Maya didn't build monuments to dominate nature. They built to harmonize with it, crafting a city where the boundaries between earth and sky dissolve. In a world without satellites, their celestial mastery remains one of history's most humbling riddles, proof that brilliance isn't measured by technology alone, but by the depth of curiosity that fuels it. From the jungles of the Yucatan to the heart of Cambodia, Angkor Wat rises like a stone hymn to the heavens. This sprawling 12th century temple complex doesn't just dominate the landscape, it captures the sky itself. At dawn during the spring and autumn equinoxes, the sun climbs directly over the central tower, bathing the entire structure in golden light, as if the cosmos itself is blessing the sight. But this alignment isn't poetic coincidence. The temple's 5 towers mirror the stars of Draco, the dragon constellation, while its outer walls and moats form a perfect rectangle aligned with the cardinal directions. Every corridor, every staircase, every carved bas-relief seems to whisper, this place was built to commune with the universe. What's staggering isn't just the precision, but the ambition. The Khmer Empire didn't construct a single temple, they designed an entire city as a celestial map. The main causeway points precisely west, aligning with the setting sun during equinoxes, while smaller shrines mark solstices and lunar standstills. Even the surrounding reservoir, the largest pre-industrial water system on Earth, may have doubled as a reflective surface for stargazing. Some scholars argue the whole complex was meant to replicate Mount Meru, the sacred axis of the Hindu cosmos, with its towers representing peaks and its moats symbolizing cosmic oceans. But why go to such lengths? The answer lies in the Khmer worldview, where gods didn't just inhabit the stars, they were the stars. King Suryavarman II, who commissioned Angkor Wat, didn't just rule his people. He served as a bridge between Earth and the divine. The temple's bas-reliefs tell this story. Scenes of creation chiseled into stone show deities and demons churning the Milky Way like a celestial ocean. Even the temple's measurements hold cosmic significance. Its central tower's height matches its distance from key outer gates, creating sacred geometric ratios mirroring planetary orbits. Modern laser scans reveal even deeper layers of intention. Hidden passages and chambers align with specific stars, suggesting rituals timed to celestial events. Meanwhile, the temple's shadow at noon during equinoxes forms a perfect triangle, echoing the sacred trinity of Hindu gods. This wasn't just architecture, it was alchemy, turning stone into a living dialogue with the sky. The most haunting question isn't how they built it, but why we've only begun decoding its secrets. Angkor Wat's celestial blueprints challenge our assumptions about ancient science, hinting at a time when humanity didn't just observe the stars, they danced with them, stone by stone, light by light, in a harmony we're still learning to hear. High in the cloud-shrouded peaks of the Andes, Machu Picchu clings to the mountainside like a puzzle carved in stone, one where every piece points skyward. At its heart stands the Teotihuacan, a granite pillar whose name means the hitching post of the sun. This isn't just a ceremonial rock, it's a precision solar clock. During the equinoxes, the sun strikes it at just the right angle to cast no shadow at all, as if time itself pauses. But the real magic happens at the winter solstice, when sunlight floods through a perfectly positioned window in the temple of the sun, striking a ceremonial stone inside with laser-like accuracy. These aren't happy accidents, they're the result of an astronomical understanding so refined, it feels ripped from the pages of science fiction. Consider the logistics. The Inca had no written language, no telescopes, no advanced tools, just an intimate knowledge of the sky passed down through generations. Yet they engineered a city where windows, doorways, and even water channels align with celestial events. The Orion, a semicircular tower, frames the Pleiades star cluster during key agricultural dates, signaling when to plant or harvest. Nearby, the Temple of the Three Windows captures the rising sun during solstices, splitting light into three beams that some believe represent the Inca creation myth. Every structure feels like a stanza in a poem written in sunlight and stone. How did they achieve such precision at nearly 8,000 feet above sea level? The answer lies in patience and perception. The Inca weren't just observers of the cosmos, they were participants. They used natural horizons as giant protractors, marking where the sun and stars touched the mountains to track time. They carved rock outcrops into shadow-casting gauges, turning the entire landscape into an observatory. Even their agricultural terraces double as cosmic markers, their angles designed to maximize sunlight during planting seasons. This wasn't just astronomy, it was a dialogue between earth and sky, where every sunrise and moonrise held practical and sacred meaning. The deeper mystery isn't the how, but the why. For the Inca, celestial alignments weren't abstract science, they were survival. The sun god Inti governed crops, and the moon goddess Mamaquilla ruled water cycles. A misaligned calendar could mean famine, so they built Machu Picchu as both a celestial clock and a spiritual conduit, a place where priest astronomers could negotiate with the gods themselves. When Spanish chroniclers later wrote of the Incas' golden ropes measuring the heavens, they missed the point. The real gold was their knowledge, woven into the very stones of this mountain sanctuary. What lingers today isn't just awe at their skill, but a humbling question. In our age of satellites and algorithms, have we lost something the Inca knew instinctively, that the stars aren't just data points but guides? As dawn breaks over Machu Picchu's weathered stones, casting solstice shadows that haven't wavered in 5 centuries, the answer seems written in light. Barely visible under rolling green hills, Newgrange hides its celestial secret for most of the year, until dawn on the winter solstice, when sunlight pierces a perfectly aligned roof box, flooding the tomb's inner chamber with golden light for exactly 17 minutes. This isn't just an ancient structure, it's a 5,000-year-old alarm clock set to the rhythm of the cosmos. The precision is staggering. Modern engineers using lasers couldn't improve the alignment, yet Neolithic builders achieved it with nothing but stone tools and naked eye astronomy. The passage tomb's corridor points precisely to the solstice sunrise, a feat requiring generations of sky watching to perfect. But why go to such trouble for a fleeting moment of light? The answer might lie in the tomb's cryptic carvings. Spirals, circles, and zigzags cover Newgrange's stones like a celestial language waiting to be decoded. Some researchers believe these aren't mere decorations but star maps marking constellations or tracking lunar cycles. Others see myths frozen in stone, stories of gods or ancestors tied to the sun's rebirth at the year's darkest hour. What's undeniable is the intimacy between this place and the sky. Unlike Egypt's pyramids or Cambodia's temples, Newgrange feels intensely personal, a womb of earth where a single shaft of solstice light might have symbolized hope, renewal, or a gateway to the afterlife. What's even more astonishing is Newgrange's age. Built around 3200 BCE, it predates Stonehenge by 6 centuries and the Great Pyramid by 1,000 years. This timeline shatters assumptions about how astronomical knowledge spread, or didn't. With no evidence of contact between these cultures, did Neolithic people across Europe and beyond independently discover the same celestial truths? Or was there a lost network of sky watchers sharing knowledge we've yet to uncover? The tomb's builders left no written records, but their stones whisper clues. The white quartz facade, which would have glittered like starlight in the sun, suggests reverence for brightness. The careful placement of cremated remains near the solstice beam hints at beliefs linking death and celestial cycles. Modern reconstructions reveal another layer of genius. The roof box isn't just a hole, it's a sophisticated filter. Its slabs narrow the sunlight into a thin beam, extending the illumination inside. This implies the builders didn't just note the solstice, they engineered ways to magnify its significance. Nearby, the newer but equally mysterious Noth and Douth tombs also align with celestial events, suggesting the entire Boyne Valley was a ritual landscape choreographed to the sky's movements. Standing in Newgrange's chamber during the solstice, as a handful of lottery winners do each year, is like stepping into a Neolithic planetarium. The light doesn't just enter, it dances, creeping along the floor until it touches the back stone, a moment as precise today as it was 50 centuries ago. This wasn't architecture for the living, but perhaps a bridge for the dead, a way to tether souls to the eternal cycles of the cosmos. The most haunting question isn't how they built it, but why we've only begun to grasp its purpose. In a world without clocks or calendars, Newgrange's builders measured time in sunlight and stone, leaving behind a riddle that still shines through the ages. The Temple of Karnak stands as one of Egypt's most breathtaking celestial masterpieces, a sprawling complex where every column, every corridor, and every shrine whispers a conversation with the cosmos. At dawn on the winter solstice, sunlight pierces the temple's grand axis, flooding the inner sanctum dedicated to Amun-Ra, the sun god. But this alignment isn't static. Over 2,000 years of construction, the temple's axis shifts ever so slightly, as if tracking the slow wobble of Earth's tilt, a phenomenon known as axial precession that modern astronomers only confirmed centuries later. The implications are staggering. Did ancient priests possess knowledge of celestial mechanics that rivaled later scientific discoveries? Or were they simply meticulous observers, refining their alignments over generations to keep pace with the drifting heavens? Step inside the hypostyle hall and the celestial theme deepens. Its towering columns aren't just architectural marvels. They're arranged in precise clusters mirroring constellations, turning the entire space into an indoor cosmos. The hall's roof, now partially lost, once bore painted stars, completing the illusion of standing beneath a stone-carved night sky. This wasn't mere decoration. For the Egyptians, the universe wasn't out there, it was here, intertwined with daily life and divine will. Temples like Karnak acted as bridges between earth and sky, where rituals synchronized with solar and lunar cycles maintained cosmic order, or MAD. What drove this obsession with alignment? The answer lies in their worldview. To the Egyptians, the sun wasn't just a star, it was Ra's solar bark sailing across the heavens, and temples like Karnak served as its earthly docks. Winter solstice alignments marked Ra's rebirth, the turning point when daylight began to reclaim the year. Even the temple's sacred lake, used for ritual purification, reflects celestial patterns. Its still waters likely doubled as a mirror for observing lunar eclipses or tracking stars. The most tantalizing mystery isn't the alignments themselves, but how they were maintained across centuries of construction. Unlike single-generation projects like the pyramids, Karnak evolved piece by piece, dynasty by dynasty, yet its celestial precision never wavered. Hidden inscriptions suggest priests used star clocks and shadow-casting obelisks to recalibrate alignments, effectively creating a living observatory that adapted to the sky's slow dance. Modern laser scans reveal even subtler genius. Certain pillars are spaced to create solstice light effects, where beams slice through narrow gaps to illuminate hidden reliefs of gods. Karnak's true marvel isn't just its scale, but its purpose. This wasn't a temple meant solely for human worshippers. Its alignments suggest it was built to welcome the gods themselves, literally inviting divine light into its deepest chambers. In a world without telescopes, the Egyptians didn't just watch the sky. They partnered with it, crafting stone hymns to the cosmos that still resonate across millennia. Standing in Karnak's solstice light, one can almost hear the whispers of priests who saw the universe not as a mystery to solve, but as a sacred rhythm to join. Teotihuacan rises from the Mexican highlands like a city frozen in conversation with the cosmos. At its heart, the Pyramid of the Sun doesn't just dominate the skyline, it captures the stars. Every year, when the Pleiades cluster reaches its zenith directly overhead, the pyramid's apex aligns with these celestial sisters with uncanny precision. But the real marvel isn't just one structure, it's the entire city, laid out in a grid so meticulously aligned to astronomical events that modern urban planners would envy its foresight. The Avenue of the Dead, the city's central artery, stretches nearly 2 miles, perfectly framing the setting sun on 2 key dates, August 12th and April 29th. These weren't random choices, they marked the beginning and end of the agricultural cycle, turning the city itself into a giant stone calendar. Who were the architects of this celestial metropolis? That's the haunting mystery. Unlike the Maya or Aztecs, the builders of Teotihuacan left no glyphs, no king lists, no boastful inscriptions. Their language was architecture, and their words were alignments. The Pyramid of the Moon mirrors the contours of Cerro Gordo, the sacred mountain behind it, while its platform aligns with the sun's path during the equinoxes. Even the smaller temple of Quetzalcoatl, adorned with feathered serpent carvings, positions its staircases to catch the first light of dawn on specific days, as if awakening the stone serpents with sunlight. Every structure feels like a piece in an elaborate cosmic puzzle. How did they achieve such precision? Without compasses or written records, Teotihuacan's planners likely used the horizon as their guide. By marking where the sun and stars rose and set against nearby peaks over generations, they could map the sky's rhythms onto the land. The Ciudadela, a vast sunken plaza, may have served as an observatory, its walls creating sightlines to track Venus's movements, a planet later revered by the Aztecs as Quetzalcoatl's celestial form. Recent LiDAR scans reveal even more sophistication. Hidden tunnels beneath the pyramids align with underground water channels, suggesting the city's sacred geometry extended into the earth itself. The most tantalizing clue lies in the Pleiades alignment. This star cluster was sacred across Mesoamerica, associated with rain and renewal. By linking their grandest pyramid to these stars, Teotihuacan's builders may have been anchoring their city to the cosmic cycle of life and death. Even the Avenue of the Dead's name hints at this connection, though it was coined later by the Aztecs, who believed the structures were tombs for gods. Modern excavations tell a different story. The avenue was likely a processional path where rituals synchronized with celestial events, turning the entire city into a stage for cosmic drama. Teotihuacan's silence is its loudest message. A civilization capable of such astronomical mastery chose not to brag in stone or glyph, but to let their alignment speak for them. As the sun sets along the Avenue of the Dead today, casting long shadows that once guided ancient priests, we're left wondering, were they mapping the sky, or was the sky mapping them? In this city where every corner whispers to the stars, the line between earth and heaven feels as thin as a blade of light at dawn. Long before the pyramids pierced Egypt's horizon, another celestial mystery was taking shape in the sands of the Sahara. Nabta Playa, a windswept basin now parched and desolate, was once a thriving hub for nomadic people who etched their understanding of the cosmos into stone. This sprawling megalithic site, dating back over 7,000 years, predates Stonehenge by millennia and the Great Pyramid by more than 2,000 years. Its most striking feature, a series of stone circles and slabs arranged with such precision that they mark the summer solstice sunrise and the rising of Sirius, the brightest star in Earth's night sky. What makes Nabta Playa extraordinary isn't just its age, but the sophistication of its design. The central calendar circle contains 6 upright stones, each positioned to cast shadows pointing to specific astronomical events. Nearby, 5 lines of megaliths radiate outward like spokes, aligning with stars in the constellation Orion. But here's the puzzle. These weren't built by a settled civilization with grand temples or written records. They were placed by nomadic cattle herders, people who followed the rains across the desert. How did a society without permanent structures master celestial mechanics so early? The answer might lie beneath the sand. Nabta Playa wasn't always a desert. Around the time these stones were erected, the region was a savanna dotted with seasonal lakes. The people who gathered here likely relied on the stars to predict monsoon rain's survival astronomy at its most practical. The summer solstice alignment would have signaled the approaching wet season, while Sirius's heliacal rising, its first visible appearance before dawn, coincided with the Nile's annual flooding far to the east. These weren't just rituals, they were lifelines coded into stone. Yet Nabta Playa's purpose may have been deeper than mere survival. One slab, dragged nearly a mile to the site, weighs several tons, an effort that suggests profound spiritual significance. Another stone, nicknamed the Cow Stone, bears carvings resembling cattle, hinting at celestial myths lost to time. Some researchers propose the site was a ceremonial gathering place where clans converged to mark cosmic events and reinforce social bonds. Others see it as a proto-observatory, a stepping stone between simple star watching and the precision of later civilizations, the most tantalizing theory. Nabta Playa might be a missing link in humanity's astronomical evolution. Its alignments show an understanding of the sky's slow wobble, a phenomenon called precession, that shouldn't have been detectable for thousands more years. Did these nomads stumble upon advanced knowledge through patient observation, or were they heirs to an even older tradition? The stones don't speak, but their silent alignments whisper of a time when the boundary between survival and science, between earth and sky, was thinner than a sliver of moonlight on desert sand. As the Sahara dried and the nomads moved on, Nabta Playa was swallowed by the dunes, only to re-emerge millennia later as a riddle wrapped in stone. Unlike Egypt's pyramids or Cambodia's temples, there's no grandeur here, just weathered rocks and unanswered questions. Yet in their simplicity, these stones may hold the key to humanity's oldest dialogue with the stars, not as gods or symbols, but as guides, marking time's passage in a world where the sky was the first and most vital map. On the rugged cliffs of Malta's southern coast, the Mnajdra temple complex stands as a silent oracle of stone, its weathered limestone walls holding secrets older than the pyramids. Built around 3600 BC by the enigmatic temple culture, this prehistoric sanctuary isn't just a collection of chambers, it's a celestial timekeeper of breathtaking precision. At dawn on the spring and autumn equinoxes, sunlight slices through the temple's main doorway like a golden blade, striking a carefully placed marker deep within the inner sanctum. During solstices, the light shifts, entering through adjacent doorways to illuminate different altars, as if the stones themselves are tracking the sun's slow dance across the sky. This isn't just architecture, it's astronomy carved in rock, a testament to a people who watched the heavens with reverence we can barely fathom. Who were these builders? That's the haunting mystery. The temple culture left no written records, no carvings of kings or gods, just these colossal structures, their purpose whispered only in alignments. Unlike Egypt's pyramid builders or Mesopotamia's star-charting priests, Malta's architects worked in near-total obscurity, their names and beliefs lost to time. Yet their understanding of celestial mechanics rivals later civilizations. The southern Mnajdra temple, the most astronomically precise of Malta's megalithic sites, features a facade oriented exactly to the rising sun on equinoxes, while its inner chambers frame the solstice sunrises with margins of error less than a degree. How did they achieve such accuracy without metal tools, without written language, without even the wheel? The answer might lie in patience, generations of sky watchers passing down knowledge through oral tradition, refining their observations until stone could mirror the cosmos. The temple's corbelled ceilings, designed to funnel light into specific chambers, suggest an intimate grasp of solar geometry. Even the choice of location feels deliberate. Mnajdra perches on a slope where the horizon meets the sea, creating a natural backdrop for tracking the sun's shifting rise points. Some researchers believe the temples doubled as calendars, marking planting and harvest cycles. Others see them as portals, places where the boundary between earth and sky grew thin, where rituals synchronized with celestial events could summon fertility or divine favor. The most tantalizing clue isn't in the temple's grandeur, but in their intimacy. Unlike the towering pyramids or sprawling Mesopotamian ziggurats, Mnajdra's chambers are small, almost womb-like, suggesting ceremonies witnessed by few. The light effects would have been fleeting, visible only to those standing in exactly the right spot at the right moment. This wasn't spectacle for the masses. It was communion, a whispered dialogue between stone, sunlight, and the select few who understood their language. What lingers today isn't just awe at their precision, but a humbling question. Why did a culture with no apparent need for complex astronomy invest so deeply in celestial alignment? With no evidence of large-scale agriculture or centralized rule, the temple culture's obsession with the heavens feels almost prophetic, as if they were building not just for their own time, but for futures they'd never see. As equinox light still floods Mnajdra's chambers, just as it did 5,600 years ago, the stones offer no answers, only the silent certainty that those who carved them saw the sky not as distant, but as something you could touch if only you knew where to stand. Beneath the sunlit island of Malta lies a darkness that hums with mystery, the Hypogeum of Saflieni, a labyrinth carved 3 stories deep into the living rock. At its heart, the oracle chamber defies explanation. Speak here, and your voice transforms. Echoes ripple through the stone with an otherworldly resonance, as if the walls themselves are whispering back. But this isn't just an acoustic oddity. The chamber's ceiling and niches align with the rising points of key stars, most notably Sirius, the same celestial beacon revered by the Egyptians across the Mediterranean. Was this underground sanctuary designed to amplify not just sound but starlight itself? Step inside, and the precision chills you. The chamber's curved walls funnel sound in ways that feel deliberate, not accidental. A low chant uttered near one of the niches vibrates through the space, creating harmonics that some researchers believe mimic the frequencies of specific constellations. Even more striking, during certain times of year, sunlight, or perhaps torchlight, would have entered through strategic openings, casting moving patterns that aligned with carvings of spirals and dots, symbols often linked to celestial cycles in prehistoric art. This wasn't just a tomb or temple, it was an instrument tuned to frequencies both earthly and cosmic. Who were the architects of this sonic marvel? The Hypogeum was built by the same enigmatic temple culture that raised Malta's megalithic temples above ground, yet its purpose feels even more elusive. Unlike Mnajdra's solar alignments, the Hypogeum star-linked acoustics suggest a darker, more intimate ritual, one where sound bridged the gap between the living and the dead, between earth and sky. The chamber's resonance peaks at 110 Hz, a frequency known to alter brain activity, inducing trance-like states in modern experiments. Coincidence, or did these Neolithic builders discover a way to weaponize acoustics for spiritual journeys? The most haunting clue lies in the stars themselves. Sirius's alignment isn't just symbolic, it's practical. The star's heliacal rising marked the Nile's flooding in Egypt, an event critical to survival. Did Malta's star watchers, separated by sea but united by celestial observation, share this knowledge, or did they track Sirius for their own reasons, perhaps as a guide for the departed? The Hypogeum held thousands of burials, their bones mingling in the dark alongside tiny carved figurines, their faces tilted upward as if watching an unseen sky. Today, the Oracle Chamber's secrets remain locked in stone. Modern attempts to replicate its acoustics fall short, suggesting the original builders possessed a grasp of sound physics we're only beginning to unravel. As whispers still slither through its passages, bouncing off walls shaped by hands 5,000 years gone, one truth echoes clear: this wasn't just a place of death. It was a crossroads where voices met starlight, where the boundaries between worlds thinned, and where the cosmos didn't just shine overhead, but sang through the very rock beneath our feet. Buried beneath the sands of Abydos, the Osirian waits a haunting, half-drowned labyrinth that feels more like a portal than a tomb. Unlike Egypt's soaring pyramids, this structure sinks into the earth, its massive granite pillars rising from dark waters like the bones of a forgotten giant. But the true marvel isn't just its eerie beauty. It's the way its central axis locks onto Orion's belt, mirroring the alignment of the Great Pyramid's shaft. Here, the ancient Egyptians didn't just honor Osiris, god of the afterlife. They built him a cosmic doorway, stitching the rhythms of the stars into stone. Why Orion? The answer lies in the myth that shaped a civilization. Osiris wasn't merely a deity, he was the first mummy, the lord of resurrection who taught Egyptians how to conquer death. When they linked him to Orion, they were mapping his journey across the heavens. Just as Orion vanishes and reappears in the night sky, Osiris died and was reborn, his story written in celestial cycles. The Osirians' alignment wasn't decorative, it was devotional, a way to tether the god's power to the earth. During key astronomical events, torchlight flickering off the water might have transformed the chamber into a shimmering reflection of the Milky Way, turning rituals into reenactments of the soul's voyage through the stars. The engineering deepens the mystery. The Osirians' underground design defies logic. Why construct a monument meant to endure eternity where it could flood? Unless flooding was the point, the structure's central island, surrounded by channels of water, mirrors the ancient Egyptian vision of creation, a primordial mound rising from chaotic waters. Each inundation wouldn't destroy the site, it would renew it, echoing Osiris's resurrection. Even the materials whisper of celestial intent. The red granite pillars, quarried over 400 miles away, glow like embers when struck by solstice sunlight, as if the builders were trying to capture the very fire of the stars. Modern archaeologists still grapple with the Osirians' contradictions. Some argue it's a later Roman copy of an older tomb, yet its astronomical precision suggests otherwise. Others point to its resemblance to the Valley Temple of the Sphinx, hinting at a network of star-aligned sanctuaries, but perhaps the most compelling clue lies in the ceiling. Though now collapsed, traces remain of a painted night sky constellations frozen in pigment, a map for the dead to navigate the afterlife. Standing in the Osirians' shadowed halls, you can almost hear the whispers of priests chanting under Orion's gaze. This wasn't just a tomb or temple, it was a machine engineered to sync earthly rituals with celestial time. The Egyptians didn't fear the dark, they revered it, building chambers where the boundaries between water and sky, death and rebirth, dissolved into something timeless. In the Osirian silent stones, the universe isn't above us. It's all around us, waiting to be read. Deep in Egypt's western desert, where golden dunes stretch endlessly, the temple of Ammon at Siwa rises like a mirage, a sanctuary where the heavens once dictated the fate of empires. Unlike the grand temples of the Nile, this isolated oracle thrived precisely because of its remoteness. Its walls aligned to catch the first light of the winter solstice sunrise. That beam of light didn't just mark the turning of the year, it was believed to carry the voice of the gods themselves. When Alexander the Great trekked across the desert to stand in that solstice light, he wasn't just seeking a prophecy, he was stepping into a celestial conversation older than recorded history. The temple's design reveals why this place held such power. The main sanctuary's axis aligns precisely with the solstice sunrise, ensuring the dawn light would flood the inner chamber where the oracle delivered divine messages. This wasn't accidental theater. To the ancient Egyptians, the solstice symbolized rebirth, the sun god Amun-Ra's triumph over darkness. By timing prophecies to this celestial event, priests wove astronomy into the fabric of political power. Alexander's pilgrimage here wasn't mere superstition. It was a calculated move to legitimize his rule by linking his destiny to cosmic cycles. When the oracle confirmed him as the son of Ammon, it wasn't just words, it was sunlight speaking through stone. But Siwa's magic wasn't reserved for conquerors. The temple's smaller chambers, often overlooked, hold their own celestial secrets. Narrow shafts channel moonlight during specific lunar phases, suggesting rituals timed to the moon's cycles. Meanwhile, the temple's foundation stones mirror the pattern of key stars in the Cygnus constellation, a celestial marker for navigation. This duality, sun and moon, prophecy and pragmatism, hints at a deeper truth. In ancient Egypt, astronomy wasn't just about worship. It was a language of power, a way to harmonize human ambition with the universe's rhythms. The most tantalizing question isn't how they built these alignments, but why they chose this harsh, distant oasis. The answer lies beneath the temple. Siwa sits atop natural springs, their waters rich with minerals said to induce visions. Combine that with solstice light bouncing off water-filled basins, and you have a recipe for transcendent experiences, deliberate sensory manipulation blending astronomy, geology, and psychology. When rulers like Alexander came seeking answers, they weren't just hearing priestly guesses. They were immersed in a multi-sensory ritual where the very air seemed to vibrate with divine presence. Today, as the winter solstice light still touches the temple's ancient stones, Siwa whispers a lesson modern leaders might heed. True power isn't just about controlling people, it's about understanding the larger patterns they're part of. The priests of Ammon didn't just read the stars, they made humanity's fleeting ambitions feel part of something eternal. In that desert silence where sand and sky merge, you can almost hear the cosmos still humming its old, unchanging song. Rising from the flat plains of southern Iraq like a man-made mountain, the ziggurat of Ur-Stil commands attention 4,000 years after its construction. This stepped pyramid wasn't just a temple, it was a bridge between Earth and the cosmos, its corners aligned with the cardinal directions and its towering staircases pointing toward celestial bodies the Sumerians revered as gods. At night, priests would climb to its summit, tracing the path of Nana, the moon god whose silver light dictated their sacred calendar. But the ziggurat's astronomical connections run deeper than lunar worship. Its foundations encode mathematical ratios mirroring the cycles of Venus, while its terraced levels may have symbolized the 7 heavenly spheres recognized in later Mesopotamian astronomy. What's truly astonishing isn't just the precision, but the antiquity of this knowledge. The Sumerians were tracking Venus's 8-year cycle and lunar eclipses centuries before Babylon's star catalogs or Egypt's solar alignments. Their cuneiform tablets reveal an obsession with celestial patterns, not just for myth but for practical governance. The ziggurat's alignments helped regulate planting seasons, tax collection, and even legal disputes, proving the sky wasn't just sacred, it was the scaffolding of civilization itself. Yet the origins of their astronomy remain shrouded. Did they develop these systems independently, or were they inheritors of a far older tradition lost to the sands of time? The ziggurat's design offers tantalizing clues. Unlike later structures that focused on solar events, Ur's alignment with the Moon and Venus suggests a different cosmic priority, one tied to fertility and the rhythms of water. The Euphrates' annual floods, crucial for Sumerian agriculture, were predicted by lunar phases tracked from the ziggurat's heights. Even the building materials whisper of celestial intent. The bitumen mortared bricks, gleaming blue-green under the Mesopotamian sun, may have mirrored the night sky's hues, turning the entire structure into a terrestrial constellation. Modern excavations reveal another layer of sophistication. The ziggurat's core contains earlier structures, hinting at centuries of rebuilding, each iteration refining the alignments. Some scholars argue this proves astronomical knowledge was cumulative, passed down through generations of priest astronomers. Others point to the ziggurat's resemblance to even older sites like Göbekli Tepe, suggesting a thread of celestial wisdom stretching back to the dawn of civilization. The most haunting question isn't about how they built it, but why later cultures forgot. When the Babylonians expanded Sumerian astronomy, they kept the math but lost the spiritual urgency, the sense that gods walked among the stars. Standing in Ur's shadow today, with its eroded staircases still stubbornly pointing skyward, you can almost hear the echoes of a people who didn't just watch the heavens, but spoke their language. In these weathered bricks, the universe wasn't an abstraction. It was a living, breathing force, as close as the next step upward. The Temple of Jupiter at Baalbek looms over Lebanon's Bekaa Valley like a question carved in stone. its towering Roman columns standing atop foundations so massive, so inexplicably ancient, that even the engineers of imperial Rome couldn't explain their origin. Beneath the grand staircase, 3 colossal blocks known as the Trilithon lie buried, each weighing nearly 800 tons, more than 2 fully loaded Boeing 747 jets. How they were moved, let alone precisely fitted into place without mortar, remains one of archaeology's greatest riddles. But the true mystery isn't just in the stone's size, it's in their silent dialogue with the sky. Long before the Romans claimed Baalbek as a sanctuary for Jupiter, older hands aligned this site to celestial events. The temple's axis captures the winter solstice sunrise, painting the inner sanctum in golden light, while the summer solstice sun sets directly behind the sacred Kadisha Valley. These aren't Roman innovations, they're echoes of a far older tradition, one that revered this mountaintop as a meeting place between Earth and stars. Some scholars argue the original builders venerated Baal, the storm god whose voice was thunder and whose chariot was the sun. Others point to the temple's alignment with Sirius, the star sacred to Isis, hinting at a cosmic thread linking Baalbek to Egypt's temples across the desert. Why here? The answer might lie in the land itself. Baalbek sits at the crossroads of ancient trade routes, a natural gathering point but also atop a geological anomaly. The ground hums with underground water channels, and local legends speak of magnetic forces that once guided celestial navigators. The Romans, ever pragmatic, built their temple here because it was already holy, layering Jupiter's worship over older rites like a celestial palimpsest. Even the Trilithon's positioning suggests astronomical intent. Its blocks form a perfect right angle, mirroring the Pythagorean theorem centuries before Greek mathematicians formalized it. Or did they learn it here? The most tantalizing clue lies in the temple's shadow. During equinoxes, the setting sun casts a beam that slices through a narrow window in the outer wall, striking a carved relief of an eagle, Jupiter's symbol. This precise alignment wouldn't have been possible without advanced knowledge of solar geometry, knowledge the Romans likely inherited from the site's mysterious predecessors. Who were they? Phoenician star priests, a lost Bronze Age cult, the stones refuse to say. Today, as solstice light still floods Baalbek's ruins just as it did millennia ago, the temple whispers a truth modern science is only beginning to grasp. Sacred sites aren't just placed. They're chosen by water, by stone, by the silent pull of the stars. In Baalbek's shadow, the line between architecture and alchemy blurs, leaving us to wonder whether its builders were honoring the heavens or trying to harness them. The Sun Temple at Karnak stands like a frozen hymn to the sky. Its 12 pairs of stone wheels, not merely decoration but celestial instruments. Each spoke of these massive chariot wheels functions as a sundial, casting shadows that mark the hours with astonishing precision, a medieval timekeeping system carved directly into the temple's architecture. But the real marvel unfolds during the equinoxes, when the first rays of dawn strike the main entrance, illuminating the inner sanctum where a diamond once reflected light onto the statue of Sirius, the sun god. This wasn't just a place of worship, it was a working model of the cosmos, where stone and sunlight performed a sacred dance choreographed by architects who saw the divine in geometry. What makes Karnak's precision even more remarkable is its imperfection. The temple leans slightly eastward, a deliberate tilt that compensates for Earth's axial precession, proof its builders understood our planet doesn't stand still against the stars. The 24 wheels don't just tell time, they encode it. Their 8 spokes symbolizing the 3-hour segments of a day. Even the temple's collapse, only the assembly hall remains standing, hints at celestial intent. Legends claim the main tower's shadow was so precise it disrupted local sundials, leading priests to destabilize its magnetic lodestone. Whether myth or history, the story reveals how thoroughly astronomy saturated every aspect of Karnak's design. Step closer and the stones come alive with cosmic storytelling. Over 1,600 elephants line the base, representing clouds that carry the sun across the sky. Above them, erotic carvings intertwine with astronomical symbols, a bold fusion of earthly passion and celestial order. The temple's three tiers mirror the sun's path, rising, zenith, and setting, while its 7 horses pulling Sirius' chariot embody the days of the week. This wasn't just art, it was a multidimensional textbook teaching cosmology through sculpture. The temple's black chlorite stones, which earned it the nickname Black Pagoda among European sailors, hold another secret. Under moonlight, certain carvings glow faintly, their mineral composition reacting to lunar cycles. Was this accidental chemistry or deliberate alchemy? The answer may lie in the lost sciences of the temple's builders, the Gangas, who blended Vedic astronomy with precise engineering. Their manuals, long vanished, likely contained star charts and alignment formulas passed down through generations of Shilpis, architect priests who saw no divide between sacred geometry and spiritual devotion. Today, as equinox light still traces the same paths it did 8 centuries ago, Karnak whispers a challenge to modern arrogance. In an age of GPS and atomic clocks, we've outsourced timekeeping to machines. But here, time was measured in sunlight and stone, a reminder that the universe's rhythms are written everywhere, if only we learn to read them. The temple's broken towers stand not as ruins, but as invitations to look up, to calculate, to build our own bridges between earth and sky. The Temple of the Feathered Serpent at Teotihuacan doesn't just rise from the earth. It slithers, its stone facade alive with undulating carvings of celestial serpents, their feathered bodies twisting in eternal motion. But these aren't mere decorations. Each serpent's open maw aligns with the position of Venus at its most extreme points in the sky, a deliberate fusion of art and astronomy that reveals how deeply the Mesoamerican world was entwined with this radiant planet. To the builders of Teotihuacan, Venus wasn't just a star. It was a god, a harbinger of war and renewal, its cyclical appearances dictating the rhythms of conquest and ceremony. Step closer and the temple's secrets multiply. The pyramid's 6-step terraces mirror the planet's 8-year cycle, a celestial calendar carved in stone. During Venus's heliacal rising, its first appearance before dawn after months of invisibility, sunlight would strike a series of carved glyphs at precise angles, illuminating symbols tied to Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent deity who bridged earth and sky. This wasn't random symbolism. The feathered serpent's dual nature, earthly and divine, mirrored Venus's own duality, appearing as both morning and evening star. The temple's architects didn't just worship this planet, they mapped its soul onto stone, turning the entire structure into a cosmic mirror. Why such devotion to a single celestial body? The answer lies in blood and corn. Venus's cycles aligned with the agricultural and military seasons across Mesoamerica. When it reappeared as the morning star, it signaled the time to plant. As the evening star, it warned of coming battles. The Temple of the Feathered Serpent stood at the heart of this celestial choreography, its altars likely hosting rituals where astronomers, draped in jade and quetzal feathers, decoded the planet's movements for rulers and farmers alike. Even the temple's buried sacrifices whisper of this bond, skeletons of warriors adorned with star-shaped pendants, their deaths timed to Venus's descent below the horizon. The most haunting question isn't why they revered Venus, but how they tracked it with such precision without telescopes or written records. Recent LiDAR scans reveal hidden tunnels beneath the temple, their walls marked with red ochre dots that may represent the planet's positions over decades. Some researchers believe these tunnels acted as subterranean observatories, where priests used the darkness to simulate the night sky, charting Venus's path with torches and smoke. Others argue the entire city was a model of the cosmos, with the temple's alignment to the nearby pyramid of the sun creating a sightline for tracking the planet's movements. What emerges isn't just a temple, but a machine one that transformed celestial patterns into earthly power. When the Aztecs later adopted Quetzalcoatl, they inherited this wisdom, tying their empire's fate to the same star. In Teotihuacan's silent stones, the universe wasn't distant or abstract. It was alive, breathing, its rhythms etched into every step of the pyramid, waiting for those who knew how to read the sky's serpentine dance. The Carol pyramids rise from Peru's Soup Valley like whispers from a forgotten age 6 massive earth and stone structures built over 5,000 years ago, making them contemporaries of Egypt's earliest pyramids. But unlike their Egyptian cousins, these monuments weren't tombs. They were celestial instruments, their plazas and staircases aligned with solstices, equinoxes, and the rising of the Pleiades star cluster. This wasn't just early astronomy, it was a language of stone and sky spoken by a civilization so ancient they predated the Inca by nearly 4 millennia. What's staggering isn't just their age, but their precision. The main pyramid's central staircase points directly to the southernmost position of the moon, while the circular sunken plaza aligns with the December solstice sunrise. How did a culture without metal tools or written language map the heavens with such accuracy? The answer might lie in the very fabric of Carol's society. Unlike later civilizations that used astronomy to serve kings or gods, Carol's celestial knowledge appears deeply democratic. Their pyramids lack the trappings of royalty, no gold, no grand tombs, just carefully placed offerings of shells and textiles. Instead of glorifying rulers, these alignments may have guided communal rituals tied to agriculture. The Pleiades, known as Colca in Quechua, still signal planting seasons for Andean farmers today. Carol's astronomers likely tracked this cluster to predict the arrival of life-giving river floods, turning celestial events into survival tools. The pyramids weren't just monuments, they were communal calendars, their alignments synchronizing an entire society with nature's rhythms. But the real mystery isn't the what, it's the how. Carol's builders left no star charts or written records, yet their architectural blueprints reveal advanced geometric understanding. The main pyramid sides form perfect right angles, and its proportions encode mathematical ratios mirroring the distance between key stars. Some researchers believe they used simple tools like knotted cords and shadow poles, refining their measurements over generations. Others point to the surrounding hills, which may have served as natural markers for tracking solstice sunrises. The most tantalizing clue, a collection of 32 flutes carved from condor and pelican bones found in the temple plaza. Their notes correspond to harmonic frequencies found in nature, suggesting Carol's astronomers didn't just watch the sky. They may have listened to it, interpreting celestial patterns through sound. What lingers today isn't just awe at their achievements, but the humbling realization of how much we've lost. Carol's people thrived for 1,000 years, then vanished, leaving no wars or plagues to explain their decline, just these silent pyramids, their alignment still true after 50 centuries. As the December solstice sun still strikes the plaza floor exactly as it did when the pyramids were new, one truth becomes clear. This wasn't just a culture that understood the stars. They lived by them, weaving the cosmos into the very foundation of their world. In Carol's shadow, the universe feels less like a mystery and more like an old, familiar story, one we're only beginning to read. The Temple of the Moon at Moch stands as a silent witness to a civilization that saw the night sky not as an empty void, but as a celestial battleground where gods waged eternal war. Unlike the solar-focused monuments of other cultures, this Peruvian pyramid bows to the moon's silver glow, its terraced walls aligning with the lunar standstills, those rare moments when the moon pauses at its northernmost and southernmost points in the sky. But this isn't just architecture tracking celestial mechanics. It's a stone hymn to a deity the Moch called Sea, the moon goddess who governed tides, fertility, and the very cycles of life and death. The temple's murals, peeling from ancient adobe, tell her story in vivid pigment, scenes of divine combat where the moon battles the sun, only to be reborn each month in an endless cosmic dance. What's striking isn't just the precision of the alignments, but the intimacy of the connection. The temple's central platform casts shadows during the full moon that slither like serpents across ritual spaces, illuminating carvings of starfish and waves, symbols of the sea's lunar-driven tides. Nearby, archaeologists uncovered altars stained with traces of spondylus shell offerings, their placement corresponding to the moon's phases. This wasn't abstract worship, it was a dialogue. When the moon reached its zenith, priests likely performed sacrifices, their timing dictated by shadows creeping across a stone calendar embedded in the temple floor. The Moch didn't just observe the moon, they conversed with it, translating its silvery light into agricultural cycles, ocean harvests, and even the timing of their infamous ritual battles. Why the moon and not the sun? The answer may lie in the harsh coastal landscape the Moch called home. Unlike the predictable sun, the moon's phases governed the treacherous Humboldt Current's movements, their primary food source. Its glow illuminated nighttime fishing, and its pull stirred the anchovy shoals that sustained their empire, but the temple's art suggests a darker bond. Murals depict decapitators holding crescent-shaped toomey knives, their victims' blood flowing into moon chalices. Some scholars argue these scenes record actual ceremonies tied to lunar eclipses, when the moon's death required human intervention to ensure its rebirth. Others see the moon as both life-giver and executioner, her cyclical nature mirroring the Moch's own worldview of perpetual conflict and renewal. The most haunting clue lies in the temple's acoustics. Certain chambers amplify whispers during the moon's zenith, creating an eerie echo effect. Were these spaces oracles where priests channeled the moon's voice? Or perhaps the Moch understood something modern science confirms, that lunar gravity affects not just tides, but subtle vibrations in the Earth itself. Today, as the moon still traces the same path it did 15 centuries ago, casting shadows that align with long-abandoned altars, one truth lingers: the Moch didn't build a temple to the moon. They built a mirror reflecting a relationship so profound, it turned celestial movements into the very heartbeat of their world. In the heart of Cusco, where the Andes meet the sky, the Coricancha once blazed like a captured sun, its walls sheathed in 700 solid gold plates, each one polished to mirror the celestial body it honored. This wasn't just a temple, it was the Inca Empire's cosmic anchor, a place where architecture and astronomy fused into sacred geometry. The Spanish chronicler Pedro Cieza de Leon described it as the richest temple in the world, but its true wealth wasn't in gold, it was in knowledge. The Coricancha's very foundations were aligned to the June solstice sunrise, when sunlight would flood through the eastern gate, strike a golden disk at the altar, and ignite the inner sanctum with a radiance so intense, witnesses claimed it could blind the unworthy. Beneath the Spanish convent that now stands atop its ruins, fragments of the temple's original masonry whisper of a deeper genius. The remaining walls curve slightly inward, a design that prevented collapse during earthquakes, but also created precise shadow effects during equinoxes. Niches positioned at mathematically significant points once held golden effigies of constellations, arranged to mirror the Milky Way, which the Inca called Mayu, the celestial river. Every element served a dual purpose, spiritual and scientific. The temple's four main chambers honored the sun, moon, stars, and lightning, each aligned to specific astronomical events. Even the gardens outside were cosmic maps, with golden cornstalks and life-size llama statues positioned to mark the rising of Alpha and Beta Centauri, stars crucial to the Inca agricultural calendar. What truly set the Coricancha apart was its role as an observatory. Priests known as amotas tracked time using cylindrical stone pillars in the courtyard, measuring shadows to predict solstices and equinoxes with precision that rivaled European instruments of the era. Spanish accounts describe a golden chain encircling the complex, its links spaced to mark lunar months. But the most tantalizing clue lies in the temple's orientation. Its axis doesn't point to true north, as one might expect, but to the anti-zenith position of the sun, a point directly opposite its highest noonday position. This alignment, invisible without advanced astronomical understanding, suggests the Inca weren't just tracking the sun's path, they were mapping the entire celestial sphere. The tragedy is how much we'll never know. When the Spanish melted the temple's gold and built their convent atop its stones, they erased centuries of astronomical data encoded in the Coricancha's design. Yet the temple refuses to surrender all its secrets. During the June solstice, sunlight still slips through the convent's windows, striking the original Inca floor at the exact angle it once illuminated the golden sun disk. The walls, though stripped of their splendor, still hum with the vibrations of earthquakes, their undamaged curves testifying to a science that understood earth and sky as one system. Perhaps the greatest lesson of the Coricancha isn't in what was lost, but in what endures, the realization that for the Inca, astronomy wasn't separate from daily life. It was the framework of existence woven into agriculture, religion, and even architecture. In Cusco's cobblestone streets, where modern buildings still follow the temple's ancient alignments, the past isn't truly gone. It's etched in sunlight and stone, waiting for those who know where to look. High in the jungles of Chiapas, the Temple of the Cross at Palenque rises like a stone telescope aimed at the heavens, its staircases, doorways, and secret chambers aligned with the cosmic ballet of Venus and the Milky Way. But this isn't just a monument to celestial bodies. It's a portal into the Mayan mind, where kings didn't just rule lands, they navigated the stars. The temple's intricate carvings tell a story written in starlight, of ruler Pakal the Great ascending a cosmic tree, his soul traveling the Milky Way's shimmering path to join the gods. For the Maya, these alignments weren't decorative. They were divine highways, physical manifestations of a belief that royalty and cosmos were threads of the same sacred fabric. Step inside the temple's inner sanctum, and the precision takes your breath away. The narrow windows frame Venus at its brightest apparitions, while the central doorway captures the Milky Way's zenith passage during the winter solstice, a moment the Maya called the sky's rebirth. These alignments weren't accidental. They were calculated over generations, encoded in hieroglyphs that double as celestial maps. One tablet shows Venus as a feathered serpent slithering between temple peaks, mirroring the planet's actual path over Palenque's skyline. Another depicts Pakal's ancestors as constellations, their deeds immortalized not just in stone but in the stars themselves. Why such obsession with Venus? The answer lies in blood and time. The Maya tracked Venus's 8-year cycle with terrifying accuracy, its movements dictating wars, coronations, and even sacrifices. When Venus appeared as the morning star, it signaled the return of the warrior god Kaawil, a time for kings to prove their divine right through battle. The Temple of the Cross served as both observatory and stage for these cosmic dramas. Its alignment with the Milky Way, which the Maya saw as the white road to the underworld, transformed solstice rituals into reenactments of Pakal's celestial journey, blurring the line between king and deity. The most haunting detail isn't in the carvings, but in the silence between them. Modern laser scans reveal hidden chambers beneath the temple where priests likely performed star-charting rituals, their torches flickering against walls painted with astronomical tables. One undeciphered glyph cluster repeats at precise intervals, possibly marking Venus's synodic periods. The Maya didn't just watch the sky, they conversed with it, using architecture as their lexicon. Today, as Venus still traces the same path over Palinque that it did 13 centuries ago, the Temple of the Cross stands as a testament to a civilization that saw no divide between Earth and cosmos. In these weathered stones, the universe wasn't a distant mystery, it was alive, breathing, its rhythms etched into every step of a king's journey from mortal throne to eternal stars. The Temple of the Inscriptions looms over Palinque's ruins like a stone cipher, its 9-tiered pyramid hiding more than just the tomb of King Pakal. It guards a celestial secret carved into its very bones. When the winter solstice sun dips below the horizon, its final rays slip through the temple's western doorway, illuminating the stairwell that descends to Pakal's burial chamber. This isn't random poetry in light and shadow. It's a meticulously engineered moment, timed so the dying sun would symbolically escort the king's soul on its journey to the stars. The effect is hauntingly deliberate, as if the architects didn't just build a tomb, but a launch pad for the afterlife. Inside that chamber lies the real enigma, Pakal's sarcophagus lid, a 5-ton slab of limestone carved with an image that sparked debates for decades. The king reclines against a cosmic tree, its branches twisting into the Milky Way, while a celestial serpent coils beneath him like a living spacecraft. Some see this as proof the Maya believed in star-faring gods. Others argue it's pure metaphor, a depiction of the soul's ascent through the layers of the Mayan cosmos. The truth may lie in the inscriptions themselves, over 600 glyphs chronicling Pakal's lineage and deeds, woven with astronomical references so precise they double as a star map. What's undeniable is the depth of the celestial obsession. The temple's orientation doesn't just mark the solstice. Its corbelled vaults align with Venus's extreme positions, while hidden air shafts channel breezes that whistle at specific lunar phases, creating an eerie voice from the underworld. Even the stairwell's 90 steps may encode the Maya's sacred calendar cycles. This wasn't just a burial site, it was a cosmic clock, its mechanisms ticking in stone and shadow. The most tantalizing question isn't whether Pakal's people believed he'd literally ride to the stars, but why they went to such lengths to synchronize death with the heavens. Perhaps the answer lies in the temple's name. Those inscriptions aren't just history, they're a celestial resume, proving Pakal's soul had mastered the astronomy required to navigate the afterlife. In a civilization where kings weren't just rulers but shamans who bridged earth and sky, the temple's alignments were less about symbolism and more about logistics, a divine GPS etched in stone, ensuring the king's journey home. Today, as solstice light still traces its ancient path down the temple stairs, the stones murmur a truth we're only beginning to grasp. For the Maya, the universe wasn't something you observed. It was something you joined, one precisely aligned doorway at a time. The Temple of the Warriors stands as a stone echo of celestial warfare, its 1,000 columns marching across the plaza like an eternal army frozen in starlight. Each pillar, carved with the likeness of warriors and feathered serpents, aligns with Venus's most dramatic appearances, those moments when the planet blazed brightest as the morning or evening star. For the Maya, these weren't just astronomical events, they were divine signals to raise armies. The temple's central staircase captures the Pleiades' zenith, the star cluster known as Tzab to the Maya, whose rattlesnake tail shape symbolized both war and the agricultural cycles that fed it. This wasn't just architecture, it was a battlefield mapped onto the cosmos where earthly conquests mirrored celestial patterns. Dive deeper into the carvings and the strategy emerges. Bas-reliefs show warriors adorned with star-glyph helmets, their weapons tipped with Venus symbols. One chilling panel depicts a sacrificial victim sprawled beneath a star-studded sky, his death timed to coincide with Venus's descent, a ritual meant to harness the planet's martial energy. Why Venus? The answer lies in the Dresden Codex, a Maya manuscript with tables so precise they predict Venus's movements for centuries. To the Maya, Venus wasn't just a planet, it was Ka-Auil, the god of war, whose cyclical appearances dictated when to attack, when to retreat, and when to spill blood to maintain cosmic balance. The temple's alignment served as a celestial war room where priests decoded the sky's signals for kings, but the true genius lies in the temple's acoustics. Clap your hands at the base of the staircase, and the sound ricochets off the stone in a series of eerie chirps mimicking the cry of the Quetzal bird, the sacred messenger between gods and men. During Venus's heliacal rising, when the planet first reappeared before dawn, these sounds would have amplified rituals, turning the entire temple into a resonating chamber for celestial warfare. Nearby, the Tzompantli, a skull rack, bears carvings of decapitated heads with star eyes, suggesting fallen warriors became stars themselves, joining the eternal battle overhead. The most haunting question isn't why the Maya linked war to the stars, but how they achieved such surgical precision without telescopes. Recent LiDAR scans reveal hidden channels beneath the temple, possibly used to track Venus's path with reflected moonlight or water's shimmer. Others argue the columns themselves functioned as a giant calendar, their shadows intersecting at specific points to mark planetary transitions. Whatever their methods, the Maya's celestial strategies worked with chilling efficiency. Historical records show their raids often coincided with Venus's brightest phases, when warriors believed the god Ka-Auil marched beside them. Today, as Venus still traces its ancient path over Chichen Itza, the Temple of the Warriors stands as a testament to a civilization that didn't just watch the sky, they waged war by it. In these weathered stones, the universe wasn't a distant observer. It was the ultimate general, dictating battles with the cold precision of celestial mechanics. The Maya didn't conquer in spite of the stars, they conquered because of them. Deep in the emerald heart of Guatemala's rainforest, the Temple of the Jaguar at Tikal pierces the canopy like a stone compass pointing skyward. On the spring and autumn equinoxes, the rising sun slips between its twin roof cones, flooding the stairway with light that ignites the jaguar carvings along its steps, transforming the entire pyramid into a shimmering vision of the sun's descent into the underworld. This isn't just a play of light and shadow. It's a meticulously engineered reenactment of the Maya's cosmic drama, where the sun, embodied as the jaguar god of the night, battles through the darkness to be reborn at dawn. The temple's alignment reveals more than architectural skill. It's a window into how the Maya saw the universe. Their cosmos wasn't a void but a layered realm, the star-studded heavens, the earthly middle world, and the watery underworld of Xibalba, where the jaguar ruled. Tikal's temples mirror this tripartite structure. The Temple of the Jaguar's 9 tiers represent the 9 levels of Xibalba, while its summit touches the realm of the celestial bird deity. Even the plaza below was designed as a microcosm, with surrounding pyramids marking the solstice sunrises and the movements of Venus, creating a sacred theater where earthly rituals synchronized with celestial events. What's truly astonishing is the scale of their precision. Without metal tools or modern instruments, the Maya calibrated the temple's alignment to account for the horizon's natural dip, ensuring the equinox sun would strike the jaguar carvings at the exact moment it crossed the zenith. Nearby, the Temple of the Masks frames the rising Pleiades, whose heliacal appearance signaled the start of the agricultural cycle. This interconnected web of alignments suggests Tikal wasn't just a city, it was a living star chart, its stones whispering the rhythms of time to priests who decoded them. The jaguar's symbolism ties it all together. In Maya lore, the sun didn't vanish at night, it transformed into a jaguar, prowling Xibalba until emerging victorious at dawn. The temple's carvings capture this metamorphosis with feline figures adorned with solar glyphs, their eyes following the sun's path. During equinoxes, when day and night hang in balance, the play of light and shadow animates these carvings as if the stone itself is breathing with the sun's journey. Modern LiDAR scans reveal even deeper layers of intention. Hidden chambers beneath the temple align with subterranean waterways, mirroring the Maya's belief in cosmic waters flowing between worlds. The acoustics, too, are deliberate. A clap at the base echoes like a jaguar's growl, a sound believed to summon the sun's return. In Tikal's silent stones, the universe wasn't just observed, it was performed, with kings and priests as actors in a celestial drama written in sunlight and shadow. Standing atop the temple at dawn, as the equinox light still traces its ancient path, one thing becomes clear: the Maya didn't build to impress mortals. They built to converse with the cosmos, turning stone into a language the heavens would understand. Here, the boundary between earth and sky dissolves, leaving only the echo of a civilization that didn't just watch the stars, they danced with them. The Temple of the Masks at Kohenlik stands frozen in time, its towering stucco faces staring blankly across the centuries, yet their empty eyes hold a secret dialogue with the sun. Each of the 8 larger-than-life masks, some still bearing traces of vibrant red paint, aligns with precise solar events, catching the first or last light of equinoxes and solstices in ways that transform stone into a celestial calendar. But these aren't generic deities. The individuality in their features, the curve of a lip, the arch of a brow, suggests they depict real people, perhaps rulers or revered ancestors, immortalized not just in likeness but in relationship to the cosmos. What's chilling isn't the mask's size or artistry, but their intentional imperfection. One mask tilts slightly left, another dips its chin, adjustments that scholars believe compensate for Earth's axial tilt over millennia, ensuring the alignments remain true. This implies the Maya didn't just carve these faces for their own time. They engineered them to outlast generations, their gazes locked to solar events future astronomers would witness. During the spring equinox, sunlight slips between 2 central masks, striking a hidden altar where offerings of jade and obsidian once lay, as if the ancestors themselves were channeling the sun's energy. Why merge portraiture with astronomy? The answer might lie in the Maya concept of Kaya, the sacred life force that flowed between humans, ancestors, and stars. By anchoring these faces to solar rhythms, the Maya blurred the line between mortal and cosmic, suggesting the depicted individuals had ascended to become celestial guides. The mask's placement on the pyramid staircase reinforces this, each step upward symbolically closer to the heavens, turning the temple into a ladder between worlds. The most haunting detail emerges at dawn on the summer solstice, when shadows from the temple's corners fall across the mask's eyes, creating the illusion of tears. To the Maya, tears weren't just sorrow, they were sacred, symbolizing rain and renewal. This convergence of shadow, stone, and season wasn't poetic accident. It was physics and faith intertwined, a reminder that for the Maya, the sky wasn't separate from humanity. It was a mirror reflecting their stories, their rulers, and their dead back to them in sunlight and shadow. Today, as equinox light still traces the same paths it did 12 centuries ago, the mask's silent stares challenge our modern divide between science and spirit. In their weathered features, the universe isn't a cold void, it's a tapestry, woven with threads of memory and starlight, waiting for those who dare to look up and meet its gaze. At Teotihuacan, where the Yucatan jungle thins to scrubland, the Temple of the Seven Dolls performs its ancient solar ritual with quiet precision. Each equinox, the rising sun threads itself through the temple's narrow eastern doorway, splitting into a blade of light that pierces the opposite exit, a corridor of gold illuminating the jungle floor. But this isn't just a celestial coincidence. It's a feat of engineering so exact, modern reconstructions struggle to replicate its accuracy without laser tools. The temple's two doorways, positioned like gun sights, frame the equinox sunrise with a margin of error less than half a degree. For a civilization without telescopes or written blueprints, this precision borders on the supernatural. Then there are the dolls' 7 crude clay figurines, their limbs contorted, their faces eerily blank. Discovered buried beneath the temple's altar, they bear no inscriptions, no obvious ties to Mayan gods. Yet their placement suggests intention. Some scholars argue they represent the Pleiades, the star cluster critical to Mayan agriculture. Others see them as symbolic sacrifices, their twisted postures mimicking the path of the sun through the underworld during equinox nights. The most haunting theory, they're portraits not of deities but of real people, perhaps astronomer priests who designed the temple's alignments and were immortalized in clay as keepers of celestial secrets. The temple's dual nature deepens the mystery. By day, it's a solar instrument. By night, its windows frame Venus's brightest appearances. A nearby cenote or sinkhole mirrors the night sky when calm, suggesting priests used reflections to track stars. This blending of solar and lunar, earthly and aquatic, hints at a holistic cosmology where the sky wasn't segmented into disciplines but experienced as a fluid whole. The dolls might be the key, their number 7 echoing not just stars but sacred layers of Mayan cosmology, from the underworld to the heavens. Modern equinox celebrations at Teotihuacan draw crowds, but few grasp the temple's true genius. As sunlight floods the corridor, it doesn't just mark the date, it interacts with the architecture. The angle of the floor creates a creeping illumination, like a serpent slithering westward, a nod to Kukulkan's celestial counterpart. The effect lasts precisely 22 minutes, the exact duration the Maya considered the balance point between light and dark. This wasn't just a calendar, it was a kinetic sculpture, its moving parts forged from sunlight and shadow. The doll's silence speaks volumes. Unlike other Mayan relics, they offer no glyphs, no dates, just their mute witness to a science that balanced precision with poetry. In their hollow eyes, we glimpse a civilization that didn't just observe the sky, but wove it into the fabric of meaning, turning equinoxes into epics and clay into constellations. The Temple of the Seven Dolls doesn't just defy logic. It invites us to reconsider where science ends and sacred wonder begins. The Temple of the Foliated Cross at Palenque doesn't just rise from the jungle it blossoms, its carvings unfurling like branches of a cosmic tree rooted in stone. At the heart of its sanctuary, an intricately carved panel reveals the Maya vision of the universe in breathtaking detail. The world tree, its trunk piercing through the earthly realm, its roots digging into the underworld, and its branches stretching into the heavens like celestial arteries. This wasn't mere mythology carved in rock. It was a functional map of existence, aligning the temple's architecture with the movements of Venus and the solstice sun. Every element, from the orientation of the doorways to the placement of the carvings, served as a waypoint in the Maya's sacred navigation between realms. What makes this temple extraordinary isn't just its artistry, but its precision. The central panel's depiction of the World Tree aligns with the Milky Way during the winter solstice, when the galaxy arches across the night sky like a mirror image of the stone-carved tree. The Maya saw this celestial alignment as the literal spine of the cosmos, a pathway for souls and kings to traverse between worlds. The temple's 3 doorways frame key astronomical events. The southern entrance captures the rising of Venus as the morning star, while the northern doorway aligns with the Pleiades' zenith, marking the start of the agricultural cycle. Even the temple's name hints at its dual nature. The foliated cross isn't just a Christian imposition by Spanish explorers. It's a misinterpretation of the Maya's tree of life, its branches heavy with maize leaves symbolizing sustenance and rebirth. The deeper symbolism lies in the carvings flanking the World Tree. 2 figures, likely Palink's ruler Kanbolam and his ancestor, stand on serpent-headed platforms, their gestures mirroring the tree's growth. One holds a bundle of sacred objects tied to celestial events, while the other grasps a scepter adorned with the face of the sun god. Together, they enact a ritual that binds time itself, the past, present, and future woven into the tree's bark. For the Maya, time wasn't linear, it was cyclical, its revolutions marked by the tree's fruit, the stars, planets, and seasons that ripened and fell in endless succession. Modern archaeologists have uncovered even more layers of intentionality. The temple's base contains hidden channels that funnel rainwater in patterns mimicking the Milky Way's flow, suggesting the Maya saw water as the earthly echo of celestial rivers. During heavy rains, these channels would fill, transforming the temple's plaza into a reflective pool that doubled as an observatory, a technique still used by contemporary Maya shamans to read the stars in water's surface. The temple's alignment with Venus takes on darker significance when viewed alongside Palink's military history. Inscriptions reveal that Kanbolam timed his coronation and key battles to the planet's appearances, leveraging its cycles as divine endorsement for his rule. The most haunting question isn't how the Maya engineered these alignments, but why they invested such effort in stone dialogues with the sky. The answer might lie in the temple's quietest detail, a small, unassuming carving of a bee nestled in the World Tree's branches. To the Maya, bees were messengers between worlds, their hives echoing the structure of the cosmos' hexagonal chambers, mirroring the 6 directions of their universe: north, south, east, west, up, and down. In this tiny motif, the temple whispers its true purpose. It wasn't just a monument or observatory, but a hive of knowledge, its stones humming with the same order that governed stars and seasons. Today, as the winter solstice Milky Way still aligns with the temple's carvings just as it did 13 centuries ago, the foliated cross stands as a testament to a civilization that didn't just observe the universe. They conversed with it, translating celestial patterns into stone with a fluency we're only beginning to decipher. In these weathered reliefs, the cosmos isn't distant or abstract. It's alive, rooted, growing through time as surely as the tree at the temple's heart. The Temple of the Sun at Palink completes the city's celestial trinity, not just another pyramid, but a stone compass pointing to the heart of the Maya universe. While its sister temples tracked Venus and the Milky Way, this structure locks onto the summer solstice with surgical precision. At dawn on the longest day of the year, sunlight slices through the temple's eastern doorway, striking a carved panel depicting the sun god Ahau emerging from the underworld, his features illuminated in a blaze of gold. This moment isn't just symbolic theater, it's a meticulously engineered reunion of stone and sky, where architecture becomes a conduit for divine energy. What sets this temple apart is its narrative depth. The carvings don't just show the sun god, they map his daily odyssey. One panel captures his rebirth at dawn as a jaguar, another his zenith as a mighty warrior, and a third his descent into the underworld as a skeletal deity. These aren't static images, they're celestial waypoints, aligned so that shifting solstice shadows animate the story across the temple's facade. During the summer solstice, the light's path mirrors the sun god's journey, creeping down the panel like a golden finger tracing his mythic route. The Maya didn't just worship the sun, they choreographed with it, turning sunlight into a storyteller. Why build 3 temples to different celestial bodies? The answer lies in the Maya concept of Kaya, the sacred essence flowing through all things. For them, the cosmos wasn't a collection of separate objects but an interconnected web. The Temple of the Sun anchored the summer solstice, the zenith of solar power. The Temple of the Cross tracked Venus, the god of war's celestial avatar. The Temple of the Foliated Cross synced with the Milky Way, the path of souls. Together, they formed a cosmic circuit, 3 points in a sacred dialogue between earth and sky. The engineering behind this triad reveals even deeper genius. Phalanx temples don't stand in isolation. Their sightlines create a city-wide observatory. From the Temple of the Sun's summit, priests could watch Venus rise over the Temple of the Cross while the solstice sun aligned with its doorways. This wasn't just convenience, it was cosmology in stone, a physical manifestation of the Maya belief that celestial bodies conversed with one another. Even the materials whisper of celestial intent. The temple's red stucco, made with iron-rich clay, would have glowed like embers at sunset, mimicking the sun's dying light. The most haunting detail isn't in the carvings or alignments, but in the silence between them. Modern laser scans reveal hidden chambers beneath the temple where star charts were likely kept, their pigment long faded. These rooms, accessible only to high priests, suggest the alignments we see were just the surface, a public face for mysteries guarded in shadow. Perhaps the true purpose of Phalanx's celestial trio wasn't just to mirror the heavens, but to harness them, turning the city into a machine for divine communion. Today, as the summer solstice sun still traces its ancient path through the temple's doorway, the stones murmur a truth we're only beginning to grasp. The Maya didn't build temples to the cosmos. They built temples with it, collaborating with sunlight and starlight to weave a story where architecture and astronomy were one and the same. In Phalanx's sacred geometry, the universe wasn't observed, it was lived, one solstice sunrise at a time. From the pyramids of Egypt to the jungles of Mesoamerica, these 29 ancient structures stand as silent witnesses to a truth we've only begun to uncover. Our ancestors didn't just gaze at the stars, they spoke their language. Every alignment, every solstice shadow, every precisely angled doorway whispers the same revelation. The sky wasn't a mystery to these civilizations. It was a map, a clock, a divine ledger where gods and mortals kept time together. The Great Pyramid shafts pointing to Orion, Machu Picchu's stone hitching post for the sun, Angkor Wat's towers mirroring Draco's coils, these aren't coincidences. They're proof of a celestial conversation that spanned continents and millennia, a dialogue written in geometry and light. What's truly humbling isn't just the precision of these alignments, but the universality of their purpose. Cultures separated by oceans and centuries arrived at the same astonishing conclusions, that the heavens could be harnessed, decoded, even mirrored in stone. The Maya timed wars to Venus, the Inca planted crops by the Pleiades, the Egyptians aligned tombs to Sirius. No telescopes, no satellites, no calculators, just generations of sky watchers passing down knowledge until it crystallized into monuments that outlasted empires. How many lifetimes did it take to chart the slow wobble of Earth's axis, or track Venus's 8-year dance across the sky? These structures weren't built in years, but in centuries, each generation adding another layer to the celestial blueprint. And yet, the deeper we dig, the more questions arise. Did these civilizations develop their astronomical wisdom independently, or were they fragments of a lost global tradition? Why did so many cultures, from the desert nomads of Nabta Playa to the jungle architects of Palenque, share such eerily similar obsessions with solstices, equinoxes, and specific star clusters? Some theories suggest a long-forgotten network of seafarers or scholars, spreading celestial knowledge like seeds. Others argue for something even more profound, that when humanity looks up with naked eyes and patient hearts, certain cosmic truths reveal themselves to anyone willing to listen. The greatest mystery isn't how they built these monuments, but why we ever stopped. In our age of artificial light and orbiting telescopes, we've gained the stars as data points but lost them as companions. The ancients didn't just study the sky, they lived by it, letting its rhythms dictate harvests, coronations, even the timing of sacred wars. Their temples weren't just observatories, they were bridges, built to tether earthly existence to something eternal. As archaeologists unearth new sites and astronomers decode forgotten alignments, one truth becomes undeniable: we've barely scratched the surface of this celestial legacy. What other star-bound secrets lie buried beneath jungle vines or desert sands? What if the greatest discoveries aren't ahead of us in space, but beneath us in the very stones we've walked past for centuries? The answers won't be found in textbooks or telescopes alone, but in the willingness to stand where the ancients stood, to watch the solstice light creep down a temple corridor, and for a fleeting moment see the sky as they did, not distant but achingly close, woven into the fabric of every stone, every shadow, every whispered prayer. The conversation between earth and sky isn't over. It's simply waiting for us to listen. So tell us, which of these celestial marvels left you in awe? Have you witnessed an ancient alignment firsthand? Share your thoughts below and join us as we keep unraveling the greatest mystery of all: how the cosmos shaped humanity and how humanity, in turn, tried to shape the cosmos. Don't forget to subscribe. The next chapter of the story is written in stars we've yet